God, Gear Up's so important. Gear Up is so important because of the opportunities that it creates. Gear Up is about more than just promoting higher education. Gear Up is about exposure. You can't aspire to things that you don't know exist. So yes, I can go out as a Gear Up coordinator and I can do all of the ACT prep and I can do, college application support, financial aid support. I can do all of those things all day long. But if I can't inspire a child to pursue something, to find what they're passionate about, then all of those other things are irrelevant. So for me, Gear Up's the most important thing that we can do is take children who otherwise are very much in a little bubble. They see what's immediately around them and have very few opportunities to see anything else, and get them out into the weirdest, wackiest, most unusual experiences possible, because you never know what's going to spark a child's passion. And if that means that they discover they want to be an astronaut because I took them to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, great. If they're like, I don't want to be an astronaut, but engineering the rocket sounds cool, even better. So you just never know. And you gotta try to get out there and do as much as possible so that they have the opportunity to find out. My name is Taylor Ray Dodge, and I'm the Gear Up coordinator for Swain County Schools. How long I've been with Gear Up is a little bit of a complicated question because I've officially been acting as Gear Up coordinator since 2020, but I've been with Gear Up for decades because I started as a Gear Up student in middle school in Madison County, and have been with Gear Up in my heart and TRIO programs ever since. There are a lot of parallels between my experience as a Gear Up student and my experience as a coordinator. I'm known for doing these really in-depth summer travel experiences. It's one of the kind of characteristics of how I run the program in my district. And I can tell you that the very first travel experiences I planned were taken almost activity for activity from trips that I went on with Gear Up and with Upward Bound in middle and high school, right down to the destinations, Atlanta, Huntsville. These are places that someone took me and got me out of that little bubble and let me see a little piece of the world. And because those were so impactful for me and so memorable for me, that's where I was like, I need to get kids out there because I remember the effect that those experiences had. There is no typical day in Gear Up, at least not in my district. It varies wildly. It's one of the, I think, biggest assets of the job is that you're never bored. So I might have a day where I'm running 3 different workshops in classrooms and interacting with students in small group settings. I might have a day where I'm spending the whole day at my computer feverishly booking things for a summer experience or researching for an upcoming field trip. I might have a day like a FAFSA day where I've counseled 60 students in one day on how to complete FAFSA and financial aid steps. So it varies wildly. Our families are so affected by so many things that are going on. When the economy is in a position like it is and families are struggling to put food on the table, it's sometimes hard for kids to think about anything other than what they know. What they know is safe. I have kids that have grown up in such a challenged environment that they would rather not reach for fear of failing. Like they don't want to aspire to something that they think is outside of their reach because they can't deal with the disappointment if it doesn't work. It's safer for them to do what they know, do what they trust, and just assume college is not possible, they can't pay for it, because nothing else has been possible and they couldn't pay for anything else. Trying to get students to keep as many doors open as long as possible when life is already so hard for people in rural communities in so many different ways is definitely a challenge. And even on a personal level, like this year has had a lot of ups and downs with, okay, we have funding, maybe maybe we don't have funding, maybe the funding is paused, you know, that kind of insecurity is like you're trying your best to maintain consistent service, knowing that it could come at fairly good, you know, personal sacrifice. Like, I'm not going to stop doing the work that I'm doing. I can't stop meeting with these kids who are trying to apply to college because something's not working out on my end. They don't know that. Their lives are moving on. They still have to meet these same deadlines. They still need that help. We talk a lot about breaking cycles, you know, and in Western North Carolina in particular, communities have generational cycles of poverty, generational cycles of other, you know, destructive habits and behaviors that these kinds of programs and opportunities are designed to help break and help kids break through. And it's easy to feel like if I put all this work into these students and they go on all these trips and they do all this tutoring and then they still don't, quote unquote, achieve, you know, they still don't go to that four-year college. Maybe they do go right into the workforce, and, you know, maybe you see them around town and they're a barista or something like that. Those are not failures, because I see those students, every time I see them, they recognize me. Every time I see them, they remember the valuable, meaningful experiences they had with me. And so what that means is that's an opportunity for future success, because that child is going to grow up and have children in the school system. And I was part of helping create a positive association with school, with education, with programs like this, so that when that parent sees a similar opportunity for their child, they'll sign up because they did that. And it may be the one thing that they did that they enjoyed. So yeah, this person may not have gone to college. My program may not have quite gotten them over that threshold, but I got them that much closer so that the opportunity still exists for that next generation. And so it's a long game as much as it is, you know, every student is a success regardless of what outcome they have.